I'm just going to share a little bit about the updates to the new PDIS that you might see, and just point out some of those things that might help you as you're getting going with the trainer credential application in order to maintain that credential for your EQIT trainer status. But I do want to point out that any of the big questions that you might have on your mind, we definitely want to solve today. So go ahead and use the chat or jump off mute to throw out what are those big questions that are on your mind that you want covered in the next 20 minutes or so that we can make sure that we are on it and we get to them.
And I just want to add one quick thing also to the folks that are on here, that just so you know, we do want folks to have their trainer credential, but we're not going to hold that against you if for some reason you don't have it and you're either about to start teaching or you're currently teaching. We're not going to, as Lisa says, take away your birthday. We just want to ensure that everybody's kind of working on that pathway. But if for some reason it's expired or you don't think that you'll have it in time for teaching, don't stress out too much. Just know that if we're working on it and we know that you're sort of actively working on it, then that's all we need from you. So I just wanted to put that in there.
And please keep in mind, you can reach out to me directly if you need any support as we're processing your trainer credential. If you come up against some hang up or you're not able to submit your application, I don't want you to think it's you. There may be a bug in the system that's preventing you from moving through the steps in the application. It's not happening for everyone, so don't necessarily expect it, but I definitely want you to reach out to your consultative role leaders, reach out to your EQ leaders, and then reach out directly to me. If it has to do with the trainer credential and you're experiencing any hurdles, I'm absolutely happy to help. So today we're going to just dive into some of the resources that are available and then look at a live demo of applying for the trainer credential. I do want to point out that these sites, the how-to guides and the FAQs, are super helpful. We're working on translating some of those things, making them more accessible, and we're also updating them as quickly as we can. It's really great to go to that Navigating the Colorado Shines PDIS landing page. And so I'll throw that in the chat right now. And then also want y'all to know that the resources that we've created are about 2 to 3 minute videos that kind of help you with some of those main functions. So it can be great to just dive into that Navigating the Colorado Shines PDIS site when you are frustrated or wondering something specific. It may be that we've created a how-to article specifically for you because we've heard that issue before. So don't want you to get too frustrated before reaching out. Okay, so we're here to support you as you go through this. Here in the chat, you'll see that Navigating the Colorado Shines PDIS landing page has all those resources, links to YouTube videos and such. I also want to point out, if you've got a specific inquiry with something outside of the trainer credential that you need help with, maybe it's logging in. Maybe there's a need to change your email address or your first and last name. Those are things that only the help desk technicians can do. We don't all have access to that personally identifiable information, so I do want to point out, please reach out to them. It's great to send them an email, and they're going to respond as quickly as they possibly can. But as I mentioned, we've got additional consultative role leaders that are supporting some of the credential and qualification processing. So we want you to know those contacts. For you can absolutely reach out to CDHS_Colorado Shines training at state.co.us. I also threw my personal work email in the chat. But if you reach out to that training contact, myself and my boss are going to be looking through that and making sure that we respond to you as quickly as we can. So absolutely use these contacts as you see fit and as they're going to help you. So this system is really our statewide workforce registry. So we can dive into it to do a variety of things, to earn our qualifications to be ECT or director qualified, to find and take courses that are really relevant to us and our PD. And so we want to see that this system is really going to be responsive to you and what you need. And part of how we're doing that, building out the system so quickly, is we are getting a lot of feedback and reacting to it as quickly as we possibly can as we build out enhancements and make it more efficient. We're going to be going through that live demo of the trainer credential in the new Colorado Shines PDIS, but I do want to point out that if you have an early childhood professional credential 2.0 that's still current, please, 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 you do not need to apply for a new credential unless you need to earn a higher level or your early childhood professional credential 2.0 has expired. If there are folks out there that are looking to that maybe had an expired early childhood professional credential 2.0 that was at a high enough level to apply for the trainer credential, then but you can't find it in your PDIS now, we want you to reach out to us directly, and we'll do our best to make sure that that data is utilized in the ways that we can in order to process your credential as quickly as possible. You'll see that we now have a trainer self-assessment built into the new system. So I'll show you where I've gone through that. That trainer self-assessment is really meant as a reflective tool for us as we dive in as trainers, as we think about our practice, as we think about meeting the diverse learners that we work with. And so we're really hoping that it's something that you find useful to do before you apply for your trainer credential, but also ongoing, just to revisit. And I wanted to just point out is if you are needing to apply for the Early Childhood Professional Credential 3.0, there are some changes that I go over in a little bit more depth in the overview, Navigating the Colorado Shines PDIS for Leaders. So you can definitely join us there if you want to learn anything more about how demonstrated competencies have changed, how documentation of experience has changed. But I do want to point out just to everybody across the field, if you're applying for the Early Childhood Professional Credential 3.0 and you've earned a level 2, you are early childhood teacher qualified. And that level has changed a little bit because our scoring system has changed a little bit. So just want to point that out. If you're coming at a level 2 or in the case of directors, if you're earning a level 3 in the Early Childhood Professional Credential 3.0, you are now director qualified. So the thing that's great about the trainer credential, nothing has changed there. Both for the trainer and the coach credential, we're looking for that level 3 early childhood professional credential in either scoring system in order to earn the trainer credential. I'm going to skip through a few things and just let y'all know that, wow, over 30,000 course completions have happened just since we launched June 14th of this year. So we've got a lot of people actively using the system, diving in and having things work. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to work perfectly, and it doesn't mean that your application or your account is perfect. And we definitely want to know about that. And so if you've got any major feedback that we would benefit from knowing about, we want you to share it. I'm going to throw our feedback form in the chat in case there's anything on your mind. Now, if you add any questions to this feedback form, we're not able to respond directly, but our leaders are absolutely looking at what are those hurdles you're facing? What are you coming up against? What do you need fixed? They're looking at those trends, and that's helping to prioritize what we're addressing in the system first, rather than 4 months from now. So just quickly, when we dig in and you're logging in for the first time, you're going to use that same email address, your personal email address, to log in, and you're going to click Forgot Password. We want all that work you've done in the past credential to transition over, all that training you did in the old PDIS to transition over, and this is the way that that is going to happen. So make sure that you're logging in using that same email address, clicking Forgot Password, and that's going to generate an email right to your email address that you can follow and set up your new password for the new system. If you're new to the system, of course, you're going to be creating a new account, much like you do in a lot of other places. But now I'm going to dive into what our applications for credentials and qualifications look like. And one of the important things to keep in mind is that the trainer credential is it's got a slimmer amount of needs for documentation than the early childhood professional credential, but the application looks very similar, and that's why I wanted to walk you through it today. Hi, Camille. Thanks for joining. And please remember, too, that if you've got any big questions on your mind, as I go through, jump off mute, let us know what those are. And if you have any feedback, please let us know in this form. We won't be able to respond one-on-one, but we will be looking for what are your needs as leaders, as trainers. We want to make sure that we prioritize the enhancements to the system based on those needs. So in the new system, we're going to see that we've got a pre-check before we go through the application. I'll demonstrate that for you, and that we've got our trainer credential live in the system. So hopefully that makes lives easier in a few ways. Again, the Early Childhood Professional Credential 2.0 or 3.0 Level 3 is the basic requirement in order to earn the trainer credential. And now I'll show you a demo in my own account. Again, feel free to jump off mute if there's something on your mind that you'd like us to go into depth a little bit more about. So here we go. You're going to see my dashboard, which is what we all land on right after we log into the New Color to Shine's PDIS. I'm going to log in with my personal email, not my work email, because I want to make sure that I can communicate with my account over the long term. So as I log in, I'm going to land on my dashboard, and it's going to tell me right away what I've got going on with my self-assessment and my professional development plan. So those are a couple great things to check out if you want to just dive right in and apply for the trainer credential. You're going to see when you scroll down just a little bit that we've got this entire section here on my professional development plan, and it's going to be really easy to jump right over to update your plan and complete that trainer self-assessment. After you check out that trainer self-assessment and rate yourself, you're going to be able to generate a few goals and label whether or not they're in progress and when you want to complete that goal. You'll see that as you go through this process, there's some automatically generated responses that can kind of help you develop that goal. But what we're looking for is that everyone has completed a self-assessment for a trainer, rated yourself in those areas, which you can update anytime, and then created 2 goals to start out your professional development plan in the new system. So these 2 things you've got to do as on top of having that early childhood professional credential 3.0 in order to get past the pre-check and into the trainer credential application. So it's nice that I've got this hamburger menu over here that provides me all of the details available in the system. But I do want to point out that when you click that down, you're going to see a lot of options, including going back to my dashboard where we just were, and where we got just some quick and easy access to my professional development plan and updating my self-assessment. But also if you go over here, you're able to go to learning, and I'll show you how, if you'd like to go and retrieve some of the documents or view your transcript, where you can see the department approved curriculums that you've completed that have transferred over from the old PDIS. You can also go to learning here by quickly clicking this big button. So for today's purposes, I want to start out by looking at what credential and qualification do I already have to make sure that I'm at a level 3 or above in the early childhood professional credential. So I'm going to go to approved credentials and qualifications. When I'm in here, I'm going to be able to see what my active credentials are. And so in this case, I noticed that my trainer credential does not expire until 2022. So just want to point out, you don't need to apply for a new credential in the new system unless that credential has expired. So for this case, you'll see all of those active credentials. But in our case, I want to look at a trainer credential application and apply to be trainer credentialed. So I'm going to go over here to the hamburger menu, And under credentials and qualifications, I see my applications. This is where you can find all applications for credentials or qualifications. And the qualification that's currently live in the new PDIS is the director qualification. So you can see right here, I've submitted for my director large center renewal. But for now, what I'd like to look at is a new application for the Colorado trainer credential. I'm going to click credentials and consultative roles and see that when I scroll down, there is my trainer credential. When I check eligibility, that's going to be where the system is already looking for my level 3 early childhood professional credential and putting it right in the system. It's going to be looking for whether or not I've done my self-assessment and my professional development plan with 2 goals. So I want to point out, when we get to this pre-check, we've noted that we want to apply for the trainer credential. Do I need to have a professional license in order to earn the Colorado trainer credential? Any brave soul want to jump off and let us know?
No.
No, we don't. So please know, and thank you, Goddard. I see you in the chat too. We need not have a professional license, so it's okay if I skip right past this. I don't need to have a degree achieved in order to earn the trainer credential, so I'm going to scoot right past this. What you will see is that it offers you all the variety in the application that you're going to see when you fill out an early childhood professional credential 3.0 application. We're a tiny, tiny comparatively to 50,000, but us coaches and trainers are a small population, and so we weren't able to articulate this application in all the ways that it reflects us. But you'll see once we get past the pre-check, it's a little bit more specific. So in the case for applying for the trainer credential, I must have completed the department approved curriculum. That is the PDIS Adult Learner Series or the Training Design Series, or any of the series that in the past have met the content learning objectives within those 2 trainings. So I do have a list of approved trainings, and we want to make sure that if you've gone through any of those approved trainings in the past, say it was in 2016 RBPD Day 1, absolutely those are still going to be relevant and support you as you apply for the initial trainer credential. So I'm going to scroll right down because I see that it shows me I have completed my trainer self-assessment. If it didn't say complete there, it wouldn't let me get past the pre-check, and that's intentional. It reminds us, go back, complete that self-assessment, and set those 2 goals in your professional development plan. Then I can move on because I meet those minimum requirements to earn the Colorado trainer credential. Now this is my opportunity. Go ahead.
Really quick, there was just a quick question in the chat. If it's needed to retake the adult learning and training design courses in PDIS.
Thanks so much for pointing that out, Eva. You do not need to retake those courses every 3 years. We're looking for that original course completion that may have been more than 3 years ago. And we know that as we're transitioning to having the trainer credential live in the new PDIS, we are not looking for all of the same renewal requirements that we have in the past to help us all get comfortable in the new system, credentialed and doing the work that we need to do, and we'll be building out the trainer credential as it works best for the field. But for right now, thank you for asking that, our friends in Parker. What I'm doing is I'm processing credentials is I'm actually looking for those original trainings that you've completed. And I'll show you how I can find those by searching transcripts. So that's a really helpful thing that sometimes people aren't even having to provide the certificate of training completion if you have completed that in the old PDIS and done those very typical department approved curriculums, which are the adult learning series and training design series. So what you'll see here is it first takes me to experience. How much experience do we need to have in order to become an early childhood credentialed trainer in the state of Colorado? Do I have any brave souls? We need not have any experience in direct care of children in order to serve in the role of early childhood trainer credentialed staff. So I just want to point out, this is a little confusing when you come to experience. It's one of the things on the application we couldn't quite articulate the way we wanted. But what you'll see when you scroll down just a little bit more is this asterisk here. If applying for the trainer credential, we actually just want you to upload a short bio here of how you've supported adults in training and learning in the past. One of the things we'll be able to use in future enhancements in the PDIS is put that little bio in with maybe a potential training that you have in the PDIS that you've aligned through TAP. So I do want to point out, you do not need to have letters of experience of hours for the direct care of children here. What we would like to see is a bio, and you can add a bio here by uploading a new document, labeling it as a bio, and saving it. Next, what you're going to see as you move forward is that it's looking for those certificates and trainings that you've completed in order to earn this credential. And we're looking for the completion of these 2 training series. The PDIS Adult Learner Series, which is a 7.5-hour series available for free within the PDIS, and the Training Design Series, which is a 3-hour series that really helps as you're both designing and facilitating working with adult learners. So you can upload those certificates here, or in a lot of cases, if you've taken something that is an alternative to these 2, that's really when I need to see a certificate uploaded here. Oftentimes I can go back and check people's transcripts if they've taken PDIS Adult Learners or Training Design. And then you'll see too, it asks, have you completed your self-assessment and your 2 goals? And if you have, you can save and close or submit your application. So it really is just those 2 pieces. And I will also want to show everybody how you can upload to My Documents and view your completed training transcript. But I'll also be interested in reading the chat and hearing any questions we have.
Yeah, there's a couple of quick questions, Christine. One is, can we use our credential for teaching early childhood and community college systems for any of these requirements?
You know, I'm not sure if you have any additional insight on that one, Eva, but I have not heard of, can we use our credential for teaching ECE in the community college? I'm not sure what that credential is exactly, or what type of preparation has gone into that credential. So
just in my experience from when I taught at our community college here, they sort of have their own separate teaching credential that they award to you. So it's sort of a separate process. I think community colleges require different levels of degrees and experience potentially. So I would say it doesn't necessarily directly translate. So that's my experience.
Thanks, Eva. And I haven't seen that there are any approved alternatives to those department-approved curriculums we went over that are kind of this teaching ECE in the community college system yet. So I agree with Eva that maybe there are some differences there. It hasn't been aligned in the past, to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you. And then the next one is, does our adult learner experience from the previous credential count? Or is a bio different?
Absolutely. Any of that experience you've had supporting diverse adult learners in the field, this bio is really a short little snapshot of who you are in a nutshell, that maybe if you have a future training in the PDIS, someone would be able to learn a little bit about you. But I promise they're all very different. They don't need to be in some very explicit form. And it's just a way, as we build out enhancements in the PDIS, that we may be able to have people get to know you a little bit more if they might be interested in attending one of your trainings. I'm just going to see if we've got any other questions. I think we've kind of covered those questions, so please don't hesitate to jump off the chat. If you've got any more specific questions we can help with, that's what we're here for. I'm also going to throw my email into the chat as well, or the CDHS training email, which myself and my team are looking at all the time, just in case you have any, one-on-one issues that you want to connect about.
one more question just came through around just the turnaround time or the wait time for approval.
Sure. For the training and coach credential, I'm really dedicated to not pushing us past 1 month that anybody should have to be waiting for processing that credential. And so I do try to do it a lot quicker than that. But if you are coming up against anything that, let's say, you're stressing because you need it for your role or your work and you just realize it's about to expire, please know that we're here to help. We know those things come up and we know we're all returning, maybe after some good, well-deserved breaks. So that stuff happens. So reach out. I'm throwing this in the chat too. All right. Does our adult learner experience from the okay, we covered that one. All righty.
If we took the training design on PDIS and we no longer have the certificate, how do we upload that, or is it already on there?
You know, Shoshone, that's a great question. And you may find that there isn't a certificate. And so some people have been linking, you know, a snapshot in their of their transcript and putting it in there. But I'll be totally honest with you. If you've completed the adult learning series and the training design series in the PDIS, I actually search your transcript from the back end of the system. So I don't really need you to upload anything there if you've completed those 2 department approved curriculums that are like already in the system. So I want you to know that if you're like, well, the certificate's not there, Christine, what do I put here? You can put any old document there, and I'm just going to look right past it and check your transcript from the back end and make sure that we've given you credit for all those completions.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, I'd be happy to demonstrate where I can find my transcript of all my completed trainings, if that's helpful for anyone. And then if you've got any questions, you just let me know. I think we might have just gone past our time, but of course, you're welcome to stay on, and I'll be happy to stay and support as well.
Christine, I have a question about the badges. You guys were so speedy approving my trainer application yesterday. But I don't understand the whole badge thing. Is that if we have EQIT and PDI and pyramid, then we get a badge?
So you're actually going to receive a badge for EQ. You're going to receive a badge for pyramid, I believe 2 separate badges. And I'll tell you, our EQ and our pyramid folks are the first ones in this, potential figuring out how badges can be used in the system. So we knew that it was something that could potentially help us identify each other within the system in the future. It doesn't currently have any functionality. So I just want y'all to know I'm EQ badge. I'm glad you're EQ badge right now. It's not really going to help us in the system too much. And that's just because we didn't want to lose that as a potential opportunity to build the enhancement into.
Is it supposed to go in automatically?
I wonder, Eva, if you've heard anything more about this?
Yeah, so when you are an EQIT trainer, you get a badge. And ideally, in the future, when you complete your 3 things, your annual video reflection, your PD, and then have your trainer credential, it will be the information will be stored there. So I won't be checking all of those different parts. It will just be within the system. And then we can say, yep, Megan is current, Shoshone is current, or, oh, their trainer credential is about to expire. When you don't see a badge, that means that you're not current with your requirements. So that's essentially what it means, but that's future state.
Okay. And it's good to know that it doesn't necessarily have value right now, but
yeah.
So it might take a little while for those to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
for asking, Megan.
Yeah, good question. Because that is a new feature. So.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to show everyone now is just how we get over to our trainings transcript, in case you're wondering, Where do I find evidence of having taken these prior trainings? If you want to add a snapshot into your trainer application, or if you're just seeking, what has transferred over for you, then of course this drop-down menu is going to give you lots of options, including how to get over to the learning side of our learning management system. So I'm going to go over to My Learning. Actually, I'll just drop over to Learner Home, and then we'll go to My Learning from there. Once I get over to the Learner Home, I have even more options over here on the side, including Add External Training. I just want to point that out to all of us because us trainers go through a lot of training too. And this is the easiest way to get to this function where you're adding those certificates of completion after you've completed some professional development within your community. For today, I want to show you where to find that transcript. So you're going to go to My Learning. And once you land on My Learning, you're actually going to see all of the things that you're interested in learning right now. So it's showing that these are the things I'm actively registered for, but have not yet happened. These are the active things in my record. So I want to become an approved trainer for standard precautions. I'm looking forward to going to the Coach Community of Practice in November. The other things that I've registered for are show up on my transcript right away. But there is a small drop-down menu over here, and this is going to get me access to my completed trainings. We really apologize that this isn't more obvious, and so we want to point it out, make it as obvious as possible. When you click on that completed tab, now you're going to see everything in the past. Everything on your transcript that you completed in the old Colorado Shines PDIS has transitioned over here. And even if you don't have a certificate of completion, we want you to know that those professional development hours have been added to your account and you don't need that certificate of completion. This is why I'm able to go on the back end of the system and actually view your transcript and see that you have completed Adult Learners Module 1 through 6 and Training Design Module 1 through 3. So I want to point that out. And then for all our EQ folks, just in case you haven't seen yet, we definitely made sure that we wanted to prioritize that certificate documentation for all of our trainings of special recognition, including expanding quality for infant toddler care and the pyramid modules. So keep in mind that these two certificates are here because they earn you credit toward the Early Childhood Professional Credential 3.0. So thank you all. That gives you a little overview. Thank you, Jane, and everyone for joining. Wanted to show you all those pieces and also let you know that we're here to help ongoing. And so if you do want to join any of our future sessions on how to navigate the new PDIS, this support is available for leaders 3 times a week in English. And we're going to soon put out an announcement of a session that myself and Denise Ragoza from the PDIS Help Desk are going to be offering at the end of this month. So please join us if you want to learn any more. I'll stay on the call for a few minutes if anybody has any additional questions as well.
I always do. So maybe it's just me, but the fact that you don't have to apply for a new credential in the new PDIS, that was new to me. I guess